let's take a look at the interface. When we look at this interface, right, the interface is at the very high resolution according to your screen. It's going to fill your screen. So when we look at it right now, we look at 50% in Photoshop, and a director can take only RGB file. Okay, so no wonder if you cannot import CMYK image into director. All right. Okay, so now this is my design. Okay, this is the design, and the design that I asked you to design, right, is have to be accommodate a few things. First, it have to be a button, right? It have to have a button, and it have to have an icon and the information of the button, and also it have the art or design layout reference, right? So in this particular case, I use I play with the golden proportion and flip it. Yeah, so this is the golden proportion, and then I flip it. All right. So now you can see the grid that I play along with, and this is what will be the button. So my plan is I'm going to have a title, right? Design reference, logo, and the button with also the description of the button. So my plan is I'm going to display the information, the main information on this area, okay? By clicking the button here, 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 and here, right? And maybe I display some text information here and here, okay? And this is my topic of the title. And then at the beginning, I want the type to animate in, okay? The type, this or type, animate in. And I also want my button, right, to be different in 3 states: normal state, rollover state, and hit state. 3 states. Okay. So then when we are planning this, right, now we have to look for the element in here. So when we look at the element in the on the interface, okay, when we look at this, right, you will see we have so many layers. How do we know which layer we're going to choose, right? So I have a shortcut for you. So you hold down your control key and click. For example, if I want to know, this layer, the UMap title, so I hold down control key and click. So you can see it jump to that particular layer on my layer button right here. So you can see that. So it jump to here. Okay. So now I'm going to click on the button. Okay. So when I click on the button, so it jump to the picture group. And so I know I'm using the picture in this group here for this particular area, right? So now when I look at this, right, so I can see, I can toggle back and forth. So what I'm going to plan, right, this is my current plan. So this the normal state, the button will look like this. And then when you roll over, so the button should change somehow, right? So I'm going to turn off the sepia tone. So the color will change to be a normal color, okay? So I turn off the layer to copy, right? So that means my layer, right, or my button will change the color. And then the third one, I'm going to turn off this particular button, which is the layer number 10. So I turn it off. So this one, when I click on it, okay, right? So that's the plan, okay? And one thing that you might have in something that handy to you is the guide, okay? You can see right now I have my guide, right? This is my guide here. According to the inspiration that I use, which is I use golden proportion, right? And then I flip the golden proportion into opposite, flip horizontal. And then I use the guide. You see this blue line here, right? According to the guide, as the layout inspiration, okay? As the layout inspiration. So when I go to view, right? When I go to view, and then I look at the snap tool, right? I want you to check on snap to guide, okay? So this way it will become a handy. It will become a handy tool. Why? Because when I start selecting something, okay? For example, if I start selecting this area, so you can see I just select roughly, and it's automatic snap into this portion, okay? It's going to be automatic snap into this portion. Or if I want to select this area here, so I can do it roughly, it's automatic snap into this portion. So it's quite handy, especially when you want to do something very precise. You have to go with that, alright? Okay. Now I'm going to click the Alt key and turn on the rest of layer again, back on. Okay. So now we're going to start exporting. Okay, we're going to start exporting all the elements as a plan. So I plan to have this text, all the text animate in separate from the button, and the interface is fade in, something like that. So now I'm going to begin with the export the text first, right? How do I know which layer is the text? So I'm going to click on the moving tools, right? And press the control key to click. So now I know this text, the word exhibition, is on the group 1 rollover. Okay, group 1 rollover. So now I'm going to check out, okay, the text is right here. Alright, that's my text. Okay, and you can see my text as a group is only 50%. Okay, 50%, right? It's only 50%. And the text is only 50%, alright? So, but when you look at the group is 100%. But when I'm doing this, right, I can change the percentage by clicking on the numeric keypad. So if I click A, so it's become 80%. If I click 20, or if I click 2, it's become 20%, okay? So now I go back to 5, it's going to be a 50%, alright? So now I know this is my text, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the text exhibition, right? And then I'm going to go to selection, load selection, okay? And then it will show you which channel you want to load, right? In this particular case, I'm going to load exhibition transparency and click OK. So now my text exhibition is selected, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to file menu, go to image, crop. So now it's cropping, right? That's what I want because I just want to export only this particular word, only, okay? And now I want a text only. I do not want any background. You can see we have so many layers. We have a background on it, right? So what we want to do, we want to click on the Alt key and click on the layer exhibition, right? So with Alt key and click on that. So it's going to turn off everything except the layer that you click with the Alt key or Option key on the Macintosh. So now I have the word exhibition. Okay, I have the word exhibition. Then what I'm going to do, I go to File menu and Save As, right? So I'm going to create a new folder, right? The new folder called Interface. So it's a good idea when you're doing that, right? You want to group together, well organized is a key. So when we're going to export this, we're going to name it, accordingly. So in this case here, I'm going to name as text, right? Because this is text and exhibition. And what file format should I use? PNG, right? Because you want a background to maintain transparent, and also you want the layer maintain the opacity that we set. Okay, so now finish, save this one, right? So now I want to call back before step that I cropping it, right? So instead use Control C or Command Z for undo, right? So I use Control Alt Z. Okay, so step backward, right? So if you use Control Z only, right, it's going to be undo and redo. So but with the Alt key, right, Control Alt and Z, so you're going to have a step backward, So now I got it back. So now I'm going to repeat the step. Exhibition, cost, description, right? So I go to cost description, doing the same thing. Yeah. Go to layer, load selection, go to layer, select and load selection. Alright. And then I'm cropping. Go to image, crop. So now I have the word in vertical, cropping. And then I hold down my Alt key or Option key on Macintosh and click on the layer. So now every layer behind it, right, turn off. So now I got the word cost description. And then I press Control Shift S, Control Shift S to save as. And then it's going to save on the folder that we create as a PNG file. Now I'm going to name text, cost description, cost, okay, maybe just cost, DISC. Thank you. So now we're going to undo this, right, so we're going to step backward by Control Alt and Z. So we go back here. So now we continue doing the next one. How to apply, right? How to apply. So we go to layer, go to selection, load selection. And then go to image, crop. And then click on that layer, Alt key and click. And then go to File, Save As. And it's going to save on the interface folder. As a PNG file. Okay, so I'm going to save it on the interface folder on my computer. Interface, right? Okay. So you got the idea, right? For the word, and this one I'm going to use as the text of the how to apply. Okay, how to apply, right? Okay, so, and then I'm going to repeat the step, alright? So, to do with the UMAP as well. Okay, so now we have all this text as a separate file, okay? Then what I'm going to do next, right? I'm going to create the button. Okay, let's start with this button. So I use the marquee. Right? To use the marquee. So with the snap tools, right? Snap to guide is very easy for me to select that area. And then I go to image and crop. So now I got the crop of this button, right? And then what I want to do, I want to turn off the word, alright? The reason I want to turn off the word exhibition because I want this part to be a button. And so on the BTN exhibition 01, and if the next one, right, you name 02, 03, when you import, right, it's going to be very well organized, so it's going to go accordingly. So you don't need, to organize anymore if you have a good plan. So this is like a good plan for you. Alright, so now 01 and save. And then when it load over, right? When it load over, I want to change the color. So I'm going to turn off layer to copy. So you can see the color is changed, right? You can see that. So when it's load over, I want to show the real color of it. So I go to File and Save As again. Go to File and Save As. So right now I'm going to name it as button underscore exhibition underscore 02 dot png. Okay. And then the third one, okay, I'm going to turn off something to make it look different. So I'm going to turn off the picture icon here. Okay. So that will be the hit state, right? So I go to File, Save As, and PNG. Okay. Exhibition 03. Okay. So the third one will name BTN underscore exhibition underscore 03, and I save. Right. So now you have all 3 files, okay, all 3 files, and now we undo that. Okay, so I'm going to show you export one more item here, right? So export this area, this button. So I use marquee to select, right, that button, and then I go to crop. And then this button is going to name cost description, right? So this is the first step. So I go to File, Save As, PNG, and then use the name it BTN underscore cost underscore 01 dot PNG. Okay. And then I'm going to turn off one of the layer, the sepia tone layer. So the color you change, something like that. So I change this and I go to File, Save As again, and going to save as the PNG BTN underscore cost underscore 02 dot PNG. Okay. And then the third one, okay, and then the third one, I'm going to turn off the picture layer. Okay, the picture layer, right? So this will be a button number 3. So save as PNG file and button underscore cost underscore 03. Okay. So now one thing that I like to mention, after you export all this layer, right? After you export all this layer already, right? One thing you might consider about this title here, okay? About the title, you see one thing that's very different, okay? And it's going to cause you a problem. Okay, so now I want to select the UMap text layer by press Ctrl key and click on it, right? And now if I load selection, if I go to selection and load selection, right? You see, okay, I'm going to zoom in for you more, and let's zoom in even more. Okay, so on the word UMAP you have the selection, but the selection select only the text. It doesn't select the soft shadow. What will happen if I crop it? Right? It's going to crop away the soft shadow, which is you do not want. You want to keep the very soft shadow with you. So what you're going to do, right? You will create the empty layer. Okay? Right now this is the UMAP text right here. Okay? So I'm going to create the empty layer. Okay? New layer, which is layer 11. And I'm going to drag it down below that particular layer, right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to select the option and use merge down, okay? So with this technique, right, it's going to convert the light type with the effects into the simple plain layer. Or you can use Control E or Command E on the Macintosh. Yeah. So now you can see everything is turned to be layer 11. You know, all the text is no longer be a text anymore, and the shadow no longer be an effects preset anymore. And then I can load selection. Look carefully this time. Right now it's select only text, right? Now I'm going to load selection. So now you can see when you load selection, it's go along with the soft shadow. And then when I crop it, right? When I go to image and crop, so I will have the perfect soft shadow with me. And then I'm going to hold down the Alt key, right? And click on that layer to turn off the rest of the layer. And then I'm going to save as PNG file, right? And I'm going to call this as a text. Title, UMAP title, UMAP underscore title. Okay. And then I'm going to save that, right? Okay, so this is done, alright? So now I keep exporting everything until I finish. So one thing that I like to mention, now you look at this image here, right? Together with all the layer active. But when we export into Director, we export as an element. So now I'm going to turn off some layer to give me, only the layer image that I want, which is this layer right here. This layer only, okay. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on only the layer I need, right? So I'm going to turn on this layer. Okay, this layer, which is I'm going to use for the background, right? And when I put together all the images, right? So I'm going to have, everything intact, right? Okay, so this layer. So now I'm going to save this file. Go to File and Save As, and going to use this as a PNG as well. So I'm going to name it as a background, okay, as a background. And now my question is, if we save this, right, and how this we going to know where the position in Director we're going to put, right? So we're going to save another file for the position. Okay, so now I will save the overall file, right, as a JPEG file for reference. So I will know, where I'm going to put the type here, where I'm going to put the button, something like that. Okay. So now I'm going to go to File and Save As, and select as a Photoshop file. Okay. Select as a JPEG file. So you can use as the reference, right? So I use JPEG high quality. So that means the high quality equal to 8, right? But if you go to maximum quality, it's equal to 10, okay? So when you submit your interface, right, you go to File, Save for Web, and you make sure your pixel dimension, the width is 800, okay, before you submit, and the quality is high, not maximum. So the file size is about half of the maximum, and then you baseline optimize it, and you click OK. Okay, so now we have all the elements, right? We have all the text. Logo separately, the text separately, the text icon, all different layers. So now we're ready to put together in Director.